Hi guys, it's Mattias, and in today's video I'm going to give you a comprehensive, very much in-depth analysis of the Battlefield 6 beta or however you want to call it. I don't care at this point. And one of the repeated questions I keep getting is of course about flying. Did you try the jets? Did you try the helis? And unfortunately I have to say I do not have much information to share with you. I didn't fly much at all. I didn't see any real impact from other pilots in any of the matches that I played. But here you have the one and probably only dogfight I had throughout the entire Battlefield 6 beta testing. And I want to point out also that the whole thing about the lack of impact from air vehicles and the disappointments from pilots that have been flying in previous games, getting into a new battlefield, playing the beta and being disappointed, that is nothing new. Normally it takes quite a long time to get into flying in any battlefield game, and when people start figuring it out, that's when all the balance issues start appearing on Reddit and various other forums. However, what's going to happen with Battlefield 6 is still just speculation, as far as I know anyway. So here I almost took him out. I probably could have done that better if I didn't overheat my gun, but he has like maybe 5 HP left by now, and I just gotta find him and finish him off. Okay, my first dogfight. So there's no real cool or satisfying sound giving away that I was able to get the kill there. So I actually kept shooting at that wreck of a plane a couple of seconds after it was dead. So now the fact that any engineer can run around with a rocket launcher, a traditional RPG, and a Stinger in the same loadout, well, that basically makes flying impossible if the enemies want to make it impossible. And you can also add mobile and stationary AA to that mix, something that I used a couple of times as well. And funny as it is, the mobile AA seemed completely pointless at anything else than air, well, infantry at least, that is, until I was killed while being in a tank by an AA. I completely disregarded the threat, and it took me down in just a few seconds. I had no idea that the mobile AA could deal that amount of damage to a main battle tank, but well, now we know. So, if you haven't seen the air-to-ground missiles, this is what they look like. Oh, I got a kill! So now, one thing that was a bit frustrating for me actually, that was firing the standard default RPG, the rocket launcher of the engineer class. Now, as much as I'm sure it makes perfect sense that it takes a while before the rocket actually shooting out when you press the fire button, in a first-person shooter such as Battlefield, it is extremely frustrating, and it's really hard to describe the feeling if you haven't fired the rocket yourself. So yeah, unlike any other game that I have played, when you click the mouse button in Battlefield 6, holding the rocket launcher in your hands, it's going to take a little while before it actually fires. And if you're like kiting in and out of cover to take out a tank, that is a substantial amount of time, and it really takes some getting used to. I don't know how many times I've been killed by that, or I believe I've been killed because of that. Not to mention how many rockets I have missed because I am, you know, turning away before the rocket actually fires out of the rocket launcher, and it hits a wall instead because, you know, I thought I had already fired. I move away to get into cover, and then the rocket fires. Now obviously, shooting down helis or even jets like this with an RPG is very satisfying, but gameplay-wise, at least in beta, this was probably the most useless thing you could do, even though, you know, it takes a little bit of practice before you nail those shots. Now, I want to point out also that even though most of the feedback that you hear from a beta like this is pointing out the negative things, there was a lot of positive things in this game as well, and I did enjoy the majority of the gameplay. One feature that got a lot of positive feedback was of course this new revive animation where you drag your teammate hopefully into a cover, into a better position before you actually revive him. It looks cool, and it's something that I can imagine is really tricky to do as a developer, and it creates a lot of really exciting and immersive moments. Oh, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming!
for you, Matti.
Shit. So yeah, I had a lot of really interesting moments like this. Obviously, many of them failed, maybe more so than the success actually, because that dragging animation itself, it makes you want to do it. So you do it in stupid situations. I don't know how many times I knew I should have gone for the combat instead of reviving, and yet I just feel compelled to do it anyway. Ah! Burn! Yes, in that situation, even I realized it would be impossible to go for the revive. Here, well, I take a chance. Now you can also see here, you can cancel the revive like I did here and go for the engagement, and something I should have done the other time as well, but well, that one was a failure. Well, I can see some really good and really interesting team play coming out of, you know, this feature alone. So now another big topic for this beta was of course the class system, and the most controversial class seems to be the assault class, by far I might add. Now this is a topic that is so big that I'm gonna have to dedicate an entire video to that alone. I'm not sure that I have enough material, to be honest, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, a couple of changes that are happening to the assault class is that we're no longer going to have the stim pack and a few other multi-purposes. Instead, it's been announced that the spawn beacon or deploy beacon is coming to this class. No. Also, there's a ladder being announced that is coming to the assault class, and if this means that we're gonna miss out on either the grenade launcher or the shotgun, I don't know. But yeah, losing out on the stim pack, let me know what you think about that and all the other changes. I actually thought it was gonna come in the second part of the beta, and I was looking forward to trying it out. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. Ah, shotgun. Now, here's something that is really interesting regarding the classes, and especially focusing on the assault class. Now, this community update from August 4th, if you click on it here, they're talking, yeah, a lot of things about weapons and maps and all that stuff. But when you scroll down to the classes, this is assault. This is what they have to write about the assault class, and I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to read it yourself. All the way down here, and then next is engineer, and this is how much they tell us about engineer. Support, same thing. Recon. They go into some of the abilities here also, which all classes have. So I don't know, they just focus on it on recon, I guess. Now, the fact that they have so much to say about the assault class alone, they seem to, I don't know, maybe they're overthinking it, but people have had some serious concerns about the assault class for a variety of different reasons, and I think it has to do with a lot more than just the overpowered shotguns and, you know, maybe the grenade launcher, whatever people are upset about. And yeah, I guess we can expect some serious changes when the game actually launches in October. Yeah, there's a little bit of that cinematic stuff that we love and expect in Battlefield games. And for the ones of you who've been watching my streams during this beta, you know that I have primarily been playing the engineer class. Here I'm using the SGX, I think this weapon is called. It's the default for the engineer class. I normally actually use the other one, the PW something something. These names of the weapons are a little bit confusing here. I guess it has to do with the trademark laws for these weapons and their manufacturers. So now, staying on topic on the controversies regarding especially the assault class, I think it has partly to do with the fact that shooting your enemies, there's a very long time to kill. It requires a lot of bullets to kill people in a lot of situations, and that makes, of course, a bit of an imbalance between those one-hit kills, such as, yeah, again, the shotgun. And actually, in my case, depending on the maps, I think the sniper rifles are very, very frustrating to deal with. Not only can you be one-hit killed with a sniper rifle, even though you get hit in the chest, but on top of that, you also have the fatal headshots. You can't be revived, and I guess this has caused a lot of camping that yeah, just made some of the rounds more or less unbearable. Now, another thing that is kind of like reintroduced, it's kind of like an standard feature in well, most of the Battlefield games as far as I know, and that is your ability or your possibility to switch kits. You can pick up a dead player's kit like this and either use it or, just like in this case, drop a supply crate and resupply myself. Obviously, healing would have worked just as well, because support and medic is kind of fused into one class. Now, the one thing I want to say about the dropped kits and the ability to kit switch is that I really wish that it would be more clear what kind of a kit or what class you are actually going to pick up, because you can barely see it, or well, it depends on the situation actually, because you have two different windows popping up there, one for the class and one for the weapons and some of the other information. You can see here, even though I'm slowing it down really a lot, the class information, because of how it's written and where it is, it's hard to see, and sometimes the window that tells you the primary weapon will even cover it. I really hope they change that. So now, unlike Engineer, which is my main class, playing support was really rewarding. Well, assuming you were fast enough, because many times people just give up, something I recognize from being on the other side of this situation. Now, interestingly enough, when I play Conquest, I really don't like playing support. However, if I play a Rush or Breakthrough or whatever those other modes are called, those more linear attacker-defender modes, then I really appreciate playing support. However, in Conquest I quite quickly switch to Engineer, because I just lose my patience with my teammates if they don't deal with tanks fast enough. Now, on a side note, I'm really curious to why we don't get more points for dealing with enemy vehicles. Now, one thing that was a really negative thing about the beta, obviously we're here to test the game and find bugs such as this glitching up on the rooftop. Now, obviously we don't need to make a big deal out of this glitch by itself, because it's going to be patched. DICE have already announced it, but it did have such an enormous impact on so many rounds that it was actually hard to understand the map and the flow of the game, and a lot of beta testing actually just went lost because, you know, people spent so much time on the rooftop that the flow of the game, the balance of the matches went completely down the drain. But yeah, things like this are expected during playtests. Now, me myself, I never bothered to find out how this glitch actually worked, but once I ended up in a squad with only snipers. They're all scouts, and they don't seem to do anything. I ended up in an only... Aha! Yeah, I guess everyone's seen this already, but if you haven't, well, this is what it can look like. Now, there's a few invisible walls here, obviously unfinished, but surprisingly a lot of details. Now, some people have leaked that this map, Siege of Cairo, is going to be a much larger map, so maybe we'll have helis and jets here, and you can actually drop onto these roofs once the map or once the game is released. So now, two more things that have been bothering me tremendously, and that is the spawn system, where you first and foremost get spawned in automatically in the beginning of the round. I just can't stand it, and I know I'm not alone. And of course also that when somebody is suppressed and you can't spawn on that person, the square gets red, it supersedes any other spawn point in that area. So it can be really hard to get a spawn, even though you otherwise would have a spawn right there if it wasn't for that one suppressed guy denying you spawn on either a spawn beacon or another player, or both. Now, what I would also like to see is better scopes, better sights, or more of them, preferably some customization. I really disliked most of them, and the fact of the matter is I've seen some really good and very comfortable sights in really crappy games, so I'm not gonna fall for the argument that this is anything complicated. Also, what is up with the grenade throwing in this game? It just looks silly. Actually, I even feel silly pointing it out or bringing it up, because it's so silly that I can only assume that this is a bug and that they will fix it, so there's no real reason to actually talk about it. Yeah, I actually hope that is the case. Well, who knows? So yeah, that's gonna have to be the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Please remind me if there is something that I should have talked about that I've been talking about during the streams but that I forgot about in this video. And anything that you have experienced, anything you want to share, leave it in the comment section. And thank you all for watching. That was a massive jump. Oh!